So I already finished recording this video. Ended up being 17 or 18 minutes long. And my original title, I don't know what I'm going to end up calling this, was Web Scraping for Beginners, which it basically is, but I go through a lot of regular shell commands in this video, so it ends up looking a lot more complicated than it is. If you are familiar with basic shell, bash shell commands and tools such as grep and sed and cut and head and tail, if you're familiar with that stuff, this video should be very simple for you. There's a link in the description to the examples. And we start off very simple, but then again, I show issues you might run into. So the command ends up looking really long and it's not. So don't get overwhelmed with this. I did do record another video to go before this that was a little bit simpler, but just follow the basic concepts. If you get lost a little bit, especially with the sed commands, don't worry about it too much. I'd still recommend watching this video to the end and looking at the examples in the description. But we're going to have a lot of web scraping videos coming up. I hope that you find them useful, and I hope that you enjoy this video. So here we go. Hello and welcome to a video from filmsbychris.com. That's Chris with a K. I'm Chris with a K. Today we're going to be looking at web scraping, pulling down those little bits of information from websites and just getting the little parts that you want, that you need, that you just have to have. So there are a lot of tools out there to help you do this sort of thing that might be a little more advanced. We're going to start very basic today, and we're just going to use some tools that you already have on your system. If you're running Linux, you already have all these, basic utilities like grep and sed and head and tail and wget and maybe curl. So those are the sort of things we're going to use today. And again, in future videos, we'll look at some tools that actually, kind of make it a little more advanced. I don't know if it's advanced, but they will shorten down. Our command today might get a little long towards the end because we're going to be picking things apart. But let's go ahead. We're going to go to one of the best websites out there in the world today, filmsbychris.com. Chris with a K. Let's go ahead and pull that down. So this is what my website looks like, right? You come in here, it's got videos, you can search for videos like Linux, and it will bring up videos about Linux, and GNU will bring up stuff about GNU, and I look really tired in some of these videos. I feel a little tired right now, but you guys are helping me wake up, right? So all we have to do is, if you go to filmsbychris.com, it's actually going to forward you to the V7 folder, which is version 7, because it's been years since I've updated this page, but it was version 7. At least that's what I think it was when I started counting. So let's go ahead and just go to our shell and say wget. So wget is like a webget. It will pull down stuff from the information. From the internet. If you're trying to pull stuff from the internet, one of two main tools you're going to use in the shell are either curl or wget. Supposedly curl is a little more advanced, but they both do basically the same thing. I like using wget a lot because it is more commonly available, although curl is very commonly available, and curl has some great libraries for programming in other languages. But if you're on a very minimal system, wget's probably there. It's part of BusyBox if you have a minimal system, and at least you can do some minimal things. But we'll talk about curl in future videos definitely, because your web browser has tools in it that will show you the curl commands for more advanced things. But we're just say wget. And if I was to say HTTPS, and I say filmsbychris.com, what it's going to do is it's going to download that web page, the basic HTML, to a file. But I don't want to put it to a file. I want to see it on the screen right now. So I'm going to say -o, and you could give it a file name, but if we just say dash, it says put it out to the screen here, okay? If you're going to be hitting a website, you're trying to find something in a website, you probably want to pull it down to a file and then run these commands on the file, because if you hit a web server a lot, they might end up blocking you. But for today, we're just going to do that. And then I'm going to say Q for quiet, right? Because if I don't, it will show the download process, progress bar and all this stuff. And I don't want that information. I just want the basic HTML from the page. So I'm going to go ahead and hit enter, and it's going to bring up this. That's not what my webpage looks like. Well, see, I'm a nice guy. I actually designed my website that if my server detects that you're using wget or curl, it's actually going to give you this instead of the web page, so that you can actually use it in the shell without jumping through all the hoops. And I even give you some examples here. So by default, it's going to show you my recent videos, and you can see the titles in blue here and the links in red. And if your shell's set up, you can click on them and go to them, or at least copy and paste them into your browser. Here is the curl command and the wget command if you want to search for something. So for example, if I wanted to search for videos about Nmap, I can just do this. And now it's going to list my videos about Nmap. Same, if I was to change this, I could type in, let's see, I'm drawing a blank on anything I've done. I'll do base 64. What videos have I done base 64? I've done 3 videos on base 64. Okay, I've done one on web scraping mugshots, right? So you can search what you want to look for here. So I can say Linux shell, and it will bring up my videos list on Linux shell, right? So I'm nice like that. Most people are not going to be that nice. So let's think of a different scenario where we want to pull some information from a website and grab just one little bit of it, something that might dump a whole bunch of information, but we're trying to get just one part of it. How about the title of a YouTube video? Now, if you're getting it from my videos, again, I'll show you in a future video, I have it set up to where you can actually just pull down a list of all my videos with the links and the description, not just part of it like I was just doing there. So let's just take my latest video, right? If I was to click on this, this is that video. And of course we could take the URL. We can also just right click on the video here and say copy link, right? So now I come in here, I can say wget -q for quiet, capital O, the letter O, dash, meaning dump it to the screen, not to a file. And again, I'm going to do this. I'm going to hit YouTube a couple of times, but if you don't know what you're looking for yet, you may want to dump it to a file to begin with. And I'm going to give it that URL, and it's going to dump all this stuff, right? It is a lot of stuff. And it's not even everything, because that's just the main HTML. The main HTML is going to load a lot of other files, maybe separate CSS files, it's going to call other things. But if I want the title, it's probably in this, and there's an easy way to figure that out, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pipe this into grep. And what am I going to grep for? I'm going to grep for what I know the title is. So if I go back to this page, pause this video, and I go, okay, the title is, once it loads, is just base 64 encoding. Let's go ahead and grep for that. So grep's a tool is going to look for a string, right? It's only going to give me the lines that have that. It's still going to be a lot of information because it's dumping out stuff here that's a lot of like JSON and other stuff, but it doesn't have line breaks in it. And I can't just say, okay, this is JSON, fix it, because it's more than just that. So I'm going to have to manually do some things. So before I do my grep command here, well, first of all, let me do this real quick. I am going to copy this. And just for ease of use, because we're going to search a lot of videos and also to shorten this line up, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to run a command in here. So $, parentheses. And in my case, I'm using Xorg as my display manager, and there's a program called Xclip. This is all this is doing is saying, put in these quotation marks whatever's in my clipboard. That way I can grab different URLs and not have to retype it each time. Plus it shortens it up a little bit. If I do this again, it's going to run the same exact thing because my clipboard currently has that URL in it. But let's do this. If I was to run this, and I'll just put it into less, well, I don't want to put it into less because I won't be able to see the text. But I'm going to scroll up, and you can see, okay, so it's kind of like a JSON format, right? Things are inside these curly braces, separated. They have values, or the what's the word I'm looking for? The variables and their values with a semicolon there. But most of the items are going to be separated by commas. So let's go ahead, and before we do our grep, let's go ahead and just say, use TR. TR allows you to replace any single character with another character. I'm going to say replace commas with new line characters, and then just give me the lines that say base 64 encoding. And we got nothing. And it's because I copied something, so this is no longer in my clipboard. Let's go ahead, copy the URL again. We'll do that a little bit better. A little bit better. We can see the encoding there. So here's one. Let's just scroll up a little bit, and now we can look, and it would be a little bit easier if I actually had syntax highlighting. I'm not in my regular setup for video recording. Normally, I have it turn your string that you're searching for red. So we can see here, there's a couple of things, simple text. These are some other videos. Let's add to our search. First of all, let me grab that URL again. And let's also grep for title. Okay, so we're doing a little bit better here. And you can see right here, oh, we have title, and then encoding, and then we have title, simple text encoding. So let's say we want, again, we're not just looking for base 64 encoding, we want this to work on any video. So let's go ahead and look for lines that start with title, question mark title. So let me grab that URL again. I'm going to come in here, and what I'm going to do is for my first search, I'm going to say search for, and single quotes, I'm going to say caret symbol, right? On my keyboard, that's the 6 when you hit shift. That's saying something, the line that starts with this. So we're not looking for any line that says title and question marks. We're looking for lines that start with title, I say question marks, quotation marks. We'll do that. I spelled title wrong. Hey, a little bit better, a little bit better. Okay. We can go up here and we can see we got it there. We got some other ones, but just to be sure, because there's other things that say title here, a good chance it's going to be this first one, but just to try to get exactly what we're looking for, I'm going to pull this one that has the title simple text. So again, we will come in here, paste that in, grab that URL again. So again, what we're doing here is we're saying, okay, download and dump to the screen the URL that is in my clipboard. Replace all the new lines, or all the commas with new lines, so it's breaking that up. Now, search for any line that begins with this exact string. And I highlighted something, so I lost my clipboard. There we go. And you know what? It's showing some other ones because there's other videos on that page. Let's go ahead and just say head-n1. There we go. Now, we can divide this up by the quotation marks. If I put in here cut with a delimiter of quotation mark dash F6, that means count starting on the left side of the first quotation mark, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I do that, and did I highlight something again? There we go. So we get the title. Now, will this work with other videos? That's the question. Let's go back to my YouTube chat, or my website here. I'm going to right click, say copy clean link or copy address. I'm going to run this command again with that URL, and I got the title of that video. I can right click this and say run it on that URL. It's working, except for there are some issues, right? So right here, we're saying, okay, find all the commas and replace them with new line characters. Well, what if my little search thing here only searches when there's at least 3 characters? So I'm going to go space, space, comma. Some of my videos have commas in the title, right? Here it says 50,000 subscribers. If I was to right click that, say copy the link, run this command, all it says is 50 because we cut off that comma. So things you need to think about when you're not using specialized tools and you're trying to do things yourself, will there be commas in there? So let's rethink this. If I was to come in here and instead of saying tr, I say said, which will let me substitute more than just one character, what am I going to do? Well, I'm going to say instead of comma, I'm going to say comma quotation mark, and we're going to make that new line quotation mark. I think that will work. Let's go there. Hey, we got our 50,000 subscribers. Let's grab another video, copy that, run it on that. Cool, we've got that. We do have another issue though, right? Here, we're dividing up by quotation marks. Well, what if there's quotation marks in the title of the video? So let me come in here, say quotation mark, and we'll just grab one of these videos, copy link. Now, if I run this, you can see Gatlinburg arcade touchscreen / nothing. And the title of this video is, if we go to it, because it cuts off on my website, because it's kind of long, we come here and it says hack in quotation marks, where we're losing that because of our quotation marks. So, because we're cutting out the quotation marks. So what can we do? Well, if we were to actually look at that, let's go ahead and not cut that just yet. What do we have here? Well, you can see there inside our string here, they're using backslashes to denote that quotation marks aren't closing off that string yet. So what can we do to fix that? Well, let's think this through. We could, I forget what I did before. Luckily, I do have, if I go to Pastebin, and there'll be a link to this in the description, I could think it through. I just did this a little bit ago. Right here, I'm looking at, okay, right, so this is what I did. See, that's why you keep notes of stuff. So instead of using the straight to the head one there, I'm doing things in slightly different order. Let's, instead of doing the cut, let's go ahead and do sed, and I could probably combine this with the other sed command. Let's do that. So we're not running sed more than once. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to say semicolon. That means a new sed, wait, that's the grep command. Let's just do it here. Sed, and we're going to substitute. What are we going to substitute? We're going to substitute any quotations with colons around them. So basically this with a new line. Let's go ahead and run that. And of course, I've got to grab my URL again here. and that's not the one we want. We want this one. We're going to run this. And now we get 2 lines because we gave that line break right there. Let's go ahead and then use tail and 1 to grab that last line there. Okay, we're kind of there. We got the title, but we're also getting these backslashes maybe not, and we got the end here. So let's go ahead and remove these last 2 characters, right? So that will always be the last 2 characters. So let's go back to our sed command here. Go semicolon, right? And I'm going to say sed replace. And what are we going to replace? We're going to replace quotation mark, curly brace at the end of the line. So $ means the end of the line. And we're just going to do blank in between those slashes. And that should remove that. Let's grab that URL again. Something. Oh, I didn't grab the URL. There we go. There we go. So now we got the title. We saw those backslashes before those quotation marks. So let's go ahead and come in here. Just add to this sed command, semicolon, and we are going to do substitute. What are we going to substitute? G means globally, meaning doing more than just one. We're going to say backslash quotation mark, turns quotation mark, but the backslash is a special character, so we actually have to do backslash backslash quotation mark. Going to run that, and we got the title with the quotation marks. Now, there might be something else I'm not thinking about, but I think this is pretty efficient here as far as getting all titles. So, we started off real simple, got real complicated. Again, there's tools out there to help you that we'll look at in future videos. But this is the concept of web scraping. And if you're new to shell, bash programming, shell scripting, this may seem complicated, but we're just using sed and grep and head and tail. These are basic tools you've probably used before. And although this can look complicated, I hope that we kind of broke it down. Again, there'll be a link in the description. And again, to this right here. And something like this is fairly simple right here, right? And we're getting the title. We're just pulling the title. We're using tr, grep, head, and cut, and we're done. We got the title of the video. But because you don't know what's going to be in that title of the video, I've created something a little bit longer. And again, I think I slightly did things in different orders here, but there's that command right there. And if I was to put that in here, I don't have URL set. Let's go ahead and grab that from here. Actually, boom, paste that. I'm getting a little off topic here. There we go. So this should work on multiple videos. So let's find another video that has quotation marks in it. And we're going to say, copy this one. There we go. So this one, nope, that's the same video. Because that's not the right command. Right there. That's the command I want. So, story time 12, the girl named Corel. And then, or Carol, as my teacher said. That's what that story is about. Let's do another video with quotation marks in it. There we go. Let's check out a video that has a comma in it. We'll grab this one, copy link, run that command, and we got the title with the commas in it. Copy link, run that one. So, again, people think, oh, programming, it's complicated, it's hard. Oh, I don't want to have to type this command every time I want to do this. Well, you don't. You put this into a script, and then you run a command like YouTube title and give it a URL. And that's all you have to do. And that's what programming is. It's doing things that you would do repetitively, but narrowing it down to one command. So a lot of people look at programming going, oh, I don't want to work at the shell because I have to type out all this stuff. Well, to get the title of the video is going to be a number of steps no matter how you do it. If you need to do this all the time, you type this out once and then it always works. For example, going back to my website, if I was to take this URL, say wget, oh, that's not my URL. I'll just say filmsbychris.com. Right? The way I get this is actually very hacky in a way, because I did it years and years ago. I don't use any database. Really, there is two text files on my server that are updated twice a day with a cron job. And a shell script just runs, checks for new videos, and updates those two lists, the recent video list, and then a list of all my videos, and it's just a text file. And we'll look at that in future videos. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you continue to watch my videos, and I hope you learned something. Thanks for watching, and as always, I hope that you have a great day.